Just like there are multiple types of observational designs, there are also multiple types of experimental designs. And here's just a small sampling of those experimental designs. The most common and the simplest is just a completely randomized experiment. And a completely randomized experiment, people are just randomly assigned into the treatment groups, and then we measure our outcome. So you can imagine in a completely randomized, we start with all of our subjects, the people who are going to participate. And then we have our random assignment mechanism. I meant to change color, but it didn't. And in that random assignment mechanism, whether that's picking names out of a hat, using a random number generator, whatever it might be, that's how we're deciding who goes into which treatment groups. So we could have multiple treatment groups. You could just have a treatment and control, whatever that might be. So, but if there are multiple, that's what we'd be looking at. And we could do that all the way up to some last treatment that we might be dealing with. Again, in the most simple experiments, we're just looking at treatment versus control. And there are lots of different ways to do this assignment. You could flip a coin for each person until your treatment group gets full. You could have them pick chips out of a thing that has different colored chips, like red and white or something. Lots of different ways. And then at the end, we are going to measure the outcome. All right, so this might remind you a little bit of our SRS. It's very similar in terms of our sampling design, right? In sampling design, we start with our sampling frame, and then we randomly select our sample people using any sort of random assignment. So very similar to our completely randomized. Big difference here is instead of taking, in a completely randomized experiment, we already start with all of our subjects. So everybody here is part of people, is someone we're going to get information on. Whereas in an SRS, we're moving and we're selecting a group that we're going to get information on from our entire population. Versus here, we're doing assignment. So assignment versus selection is the big difference between our sampling methods and our experimental design methods, though they might have some parallels like this. The second type of experimental design is a block design. So if we're worried about some particular variable or characteristic influencing the outcome, we might want to block them so that way we can have people with that characteristic in both the treatment and the control. So it's very similar to our stratified sample, except for, again, we're assigning instead of selecting. But in this particular study design, what we're going to do is we're going to start with all of our subjects. And we're not going to do a random assignment yet because we need to do our grouping. So we're going to assign them, not randomly, but based on a characteristic or something that's going on, into our different blocks. So block 1, block 2. So this could be male and female if we're thinking about gender. It could be age groups. It could be education level, whatever we think might influence maybe ethnicity. And you, again, could have multiple blocks. We'll just do 2 for this. And then you're going to do your random assignment. So you see here how it's like our stratified, right? We put all the names in our 2 different hats. We did our sorting, and then we did our random selection. But here we're going to do a random assignment. Oops, not too bigger. And that'll take us to our treatment 1. And that random assignment is going to happen within each block. So treatment 2, and I'm just going to do 3 treatments here. And then you'd have that same random assignment going on in block 2, treatment 1, treatment 2, and treatment 3. So this is what your block design would look like. And then again, at the end, you're going to measure your outcome. But like I said, very similar to stratified. We have our sorting, and then we have our random assignment. The last type of experimental design we're going to talk about is a match pair design, which is actually a subset of our block design. So in a match pair design, you take all your subjects, and then when you grab your first subject to randomly assign, you're going to find someone who's as similar as possible to that, and you're going to make them a pair. And then, so this only works with treatment and control, then you'll do your random assignment. So here's where the random assignment happens. And from that pair, you'll put somebody in the treatment versus the control, or treatment 1 versus control. So it's very, very similar to block. It's actually a subset of block design. So technically, block would be a correct answer for match pair. But match pair is more specific. Just in each and every one of your blocks, you only have 2 people, a pair. So you can do this for everybody's going to get paired off with the person that they're the most similar to, and then each of those pairs will be randomly assigned, usually by just flipping a coin to figure out who's going where. Now, and then again, you'll measure your outcome. So there are some sort of similar, some special cases of our matched pair design. Twin studies, a really good way to have a nice pair where people are as similar as possible. Before and after studies, in the before and after study, in the before case, you are the control, and in the after case, you are the treatment. So it's still a matched pair design. Taste tests where you do that. A lot of those will end up being more of a crossover design, where you have one group try one and then the other group try the second one, then the first one. But like I said, this is just a subset of the different types of experimental designs that exist, and just sort of giving you a brief overview of them.